Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk on the connection between language, the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind. So, language is the building block to thought, and thought ripples into action and feelings. So, 90% of what you do, what I do, is happening unconsciously. Our subconscious is the creator of our reality. So, the emphasis on programming, training the subconscious. An analogy that I like is the distinction between the rider and the elephant. The elephant is the unconscious. Your conscious mind is the rider. And as the rider, you have the job, the opportunity to program that elephant, to train it in a way where it works for you. It creates the life that you would like. And I know it might seem weird, like thinking in terms of that distinction. Wait, I have more than one mind, or there's different angles to perceive from. But this is the nature of reality, of what you are. Meaning that the conscious mind's beautiful for mathematics, for logical and rational, strategic thinking, doing cost to benefit ratio analysis, calculating the risk to reward ratios in any decision-making process. But there's something deeper going on with the subconscious, your heart, your purpose, your curiosities, your drive, the circumstance which you chose to be born into. So that's an interesting one, right? What do you mean the circumstance that you chose to be born into? The way that I like to see it is that the universe knows what it's doing. You don't choose to breathe every breath consciously. These systems are just working behind the scenes, meaning that there's the unmoving mover behind the scenes as well, the creator, the source, the universe. And aligning your conscious mind with the energy of the universe, it enhances your success in the material world, but it also enhances the quality of your internal world. The priceless distinction that anyone can make is low frequency versus high frequency. When you think in terms of low frequency, you're aligned with annoyance, frustration, judging, jealousy, insecurity, lack of confidence, lack of abundance, lack of health. Low frequency. I can't, I should, I would. Once I get here, I'll do this. Only if this didn't happen, then I could do the good, healthy blank. You feel what I mean? I think it's quite evident if you listen to what I'm saying, if you pay attention to the energy behind all the low frequency things which I've just described. You can feel it. I know you can feel it if you tune in and if you're not distracted. If you're fully focused on what I'm saying, you can feel it. And the other end of the spectrum is high frequency. So the distinction between low and high frequency is low frequency judges and high frequency is more neutral, observant. So high frequency is like feelings of strength and courage, believing in yourself, having a trust in the bigger picture while strategically doing the everyday practical actions which move your needle forward toward your vision. So high frequency isn't hocus pocus, just affirming things, just thinking positively and not acting. No, high frequency is the combination, the chain, the sequence, the link between how your thoughts wire, how your thoughts turn into action, and how your actions lead you into feeling, and how the cycle repeats once more once you get back to feeling, because your feelings lead you to new thoughts. And there's sequences. There are chains of thought and action, which will either 99% of the time, or 100% of the time, honestly, lead you to low frequency or high frequency. And your job as the conscious, aware, observant creator of your life is to make that distinction between what sequences am I participating in that consistently bring me to a low state of mind, to a low frequency. If you can identify that, then you have the awareness, the observation ability to begin to say, okay, I know this leads me to feel this way, which I do not want to feel. Therefore, I'm going to replace that sequence that starts with blank. I'm going to replace that sequence with this. And this, ideally, is at least an iterated, improved version of your old sequence. Because you don't go 0 to 100, you make small shifts, small adjustments. The only constant is change. You can't step into the same river twice. That means that you have to have patience. To have patience, you have to have a trust built in your own connection to the universe, to feel through your natural curiosities, through your heart, through the pull, the natural intuitive pull, to back that with strategic reflective acts and habitual ways of living, to craft a lifestyle which involves continuous iteration, continuous participation in the acts which bring you to high frequency, so that you have the state of mind which is healthy for iteration. You want to become the solution seeker. When you're in the moment and there is the opportunity to say, insert problem. Why does this happen to me? What's wrong with me? Things of that nature. You have to become a solution seeker where you feel in that moment, what is the thought process which is going to lead me how I would like to feel? And it's to seek solutions. It's to take a moment in that crossroad between, I'm worried. Why me? Why isn't this working? Between there and your potential outcome, which is, what caused that? And how can I improve that? What created this feeling, which I wouldn't like to feel anymore? What can I do in this moment to feel better? Go for a walk, a workout, eat healthy, meditate, things of that nature. The sooner that you catch yourself in the moment and you create the mind which knows what to do when you catch yourself, it's inevitable. It's inevitable that you begin to feel better, that the world begins to work for you. Nothing's happening to you, it's happening for you. But to see it from that angle, you have to switch. You have to realize that there are always two options, and that you can look at the same thing from two different angles. One angle is low frequency, and the other angle is the solution-seeking high frequency pathway of perception. And it's a choice. But you don't realize that it's a choice without being capable of catching yourself. Only once you catch yourself, then you can make that conscious decision to choose high frequency. So in terms of understanding how language links to thought, take this example. You and I could both be speaking about, we could have a conversation founded upon the same concept. Let's say any word, it doesn't matter. But the point is that you and I can have this conversation, but we could have a different definition of what the conversation is founded upon. We could both define the word or the principle which our conversation is focused on in two different ways. And if that happens, and both you and I do not notice that we have altered perceptions, altered definitions for what we're speaking about, then the whole conversation is built upon a weak, shallow foundation. because we don't have clarity. We're not understanding that you're defining something this way, but I'm defining it another way. So again, it's if you can train yourself to catch, to be observant, to realize, wait, where did this sequence start? What caused our conversation to get to this place? What caused it to turn down that path instead of the other path? This is one of those things which it can often lead back to. It's just the simple failure to clarify how I define something versus how you define something. So it's nuanced, but if human interaction, if the interaction, the internal dialogue with yourself is always running, and if to become successful in business, in relations, the hierarchy of needs, we need to interact with other beings. And if you can smoothen out your interactions, create and raise the likelihood that each interaction has a high frequency vibe and feeling and energy to it, it's going to help your entire life. And this trick with being sure that you're both defining the foundation of the conversation from the same lens, if you have that clarity, this trick, it's priceless. It's going to raise the quality of all your human interactions, which therefore raises the quality of your entire life, your whole life. Another valuable point is to understand that you can't be the same person with every single individual. Why do I say that? What causes me to say that? Well, just as we can have different definitions for a specific word, certain personalities are going to mesh better with you or worse with you. And certain people are going to be on different levels of development. For example, small talk is valuable, but there are going to be people whom you don't have to base the conversation around small talk. You can have your initial introduction, and then you just know, you just feel it. You're both on a certain level where you can go deeper, and it just flows. You're not forcing deeper. You just feel it, and they feel it too. And you both recognize it. It's a moment. So you go deeper. But then there will be other individuals whom they're not there. They're not ready to have these intellectual, valuable conversations. And it's not your job to force these conversations. There's a beautiful distinction between power and force. And power is knowing who to be what with. Power is understanding that not everyone is coming from the same place and not everyone wants to have the same conversations. And force is just about the opposite. Being stagnant, being strict, having this rigidness to your character, not being able to ebb and flow, not being capable of playing, not being capable of distincting between certain personalities, certain levels of development in certain characters. The theme is there are hints everywhere, but if you pay attention to their tone of voice, their body language, their eye contact, and how intently they're listening, how they respond to you in the language that they use in response, all of that tells you almost everything you need to know. And with time, if you do the fundamental things, which I talk about in all of my videos, get your mind right, your spirit right, your body right, you'll have the clarity to comprehend the nuances which I'm speaking about here in relation to human interaction and interaction with your own mind, your subconscious. So it's cool because it doesn't just help your material, your external interactions, but this understanding of language, the most valuable area for you to implement what I'm saying is within your own head. Your own relationship with yourself. That's the most priceless one. If what I'm saying is valuable to you, if anything that I've produced in terms of content has helped you at all, listen, this is free. This is free content. So what do you think my paid content is like? If this is valuable, I'll have a link in the description. only for people who are professional, who have high energy, who are committed to becoming their most mind, body, spirit. I have an offer in description. You can see, fill out the form, fill out the questions, and I'll see if we are the right fit. So do me a small favor. Just don't think of the red lion. Don't think of the red lion. So you have the red lion in your mind. Why? What causes that? I don't control your mind, but there are psychological truths, universal principles that govern the universe. And one of these principles is that your subconscious mind, the more powerful part of you, it doesn't understand no. So when you try to program your conscious mind in terms of, I'm not going to do this, I won't eat junk food, I'm not going to stay up late, I'm not going to do blank. Your mind, your subconscious mind doesn't get that, not one bit. So you're not helping yourself. But you can speak to your subconscious in other terms. Instead of, I don't want this, I don't want that, I'm not going to do this, you just clarify what you're going to do. So I'm not going to stay up late. You turn that into, I will be in my bed at this time tonight. I'm not going to do this habit before bed. I'm going to read at this time before bed. So if you want to work with your subconscious, you have to look for the other angle. It's fine if you have the initial thought process of, I'm not going to do this. But the moment that you consciously register that that was your thought process, you need to consciously replace that with something that will work with your subconscious. So it's almost as simple as having this ability to reframe, training the ability. This requires you to, first of all, think out of the box in terms of, it's never that you just subtract, but you subtract and then replace. So whether it's your habits or your speech to the subconscious, you start with a negative, that's fine, but you have to turn that negative into a more clear, actionable positive, something that you're going to do. So that's how you reframe and reprogram your mind. Start with that negative, but always come back to a more practical, more precise, positive way that you're going to feed your subconscious. So my actionable tips for anyone who just right away wants to start working on what this video is encapsulated. So I'm going to say that it starts with your nutrition. And the better that your nutrition is, the easier it is to work out. For me personally, working out, physically moving in an intense manner, that has been my avenue to connecting with the subconscious. That has been the thing which creates flow in my life, even in the darkest weeks, days, moments. As long as I had my workouts, I never got too low and I never stayed down. So hence the reasoning of me bringing this up in terms of actionable tips, things that will help you no matter where you're at, spiritually, mindfully, and financially. Get your physical down, your nutrition, your exercise, you're on the path. So detailed tips. I would say that no processed food. You don't want processed food and no long ingredient list. So again, we're talking to the subconscious here. So instead of saying no processed food, no long ingredients, this is what I tell you. Replace that stuff with pasture-raised, grass-finished beef. 100% grass-fed beef, not 90%, 100%. Free-range chickens and eggs. Chicken and eggs. Fruits and vegetables, right? Common sense. Get colors in your diet. Get your protein, get your colors, keep your stuff simple. Simple ingredient list, short ingredient list. Dry roasted almonds, Greek yogurt. And then choo-choo protein powder. I'm not huge on protein powder, but this protein powder, one ingredient. And it's from the choo-choo plant. It's grown sustainably, and that's what gets me on this protein. I don't want proteins with long ingredient list. So what I do here's a detailed tip. Put some Greek yogurt in your bowl, some grass-finished collagen peptides, which are sourced from the cow, and it strengthens your nails, your joints, and your hair, and your skin. So that's valuable, but it also has 20 grams of protein. So point is, effortless, 5 minutes, you can get 60 to 80 grams of protein with one bowl of Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt, maybe blueberries, raspberries, collagen, then a scoop of choo-choo protein powder, and you're set. In just 5 to 10 minutes, you have a third, dependent on your body weight. You have a third of your protein intake effortlessly. No cooking, one bowl, not a lot of dishes to wash. The lazy, I use lazy, but more so, I would say it's the efficient way to do nutrition. So that's not for everyone. I know some ladies out there, some ladies might be listening to this who love to cook. For me, I'm just in a stage right now where I'm all about efficiency. So not emphasizing cooking gourmet meals doesn't mean you can't. Doesn't mean there's a problem with that. But I know there are some men and ladies out there who would like, that efficiency with health. And that's what I bring for you. So I conclude the hardest part about this is beginning to notice what you can change, being willing to admit that you can improve, that your current habits, your current mind state, that your current systems, your lifestyle might not be as smooth, as healthy, as prosperous as it could be. So if you're one of those people who's willing to keep an open mind, willing to say, maybe there's some things I could do better, well, then this video is for you and my content's for you. So again, link in description if you're interested in my coaching. First 5 clients, 80% off. I'm telling you, this is going to happen. And there's going to be a point where I can't take on new clients. So jump on now if my content brings you to a high frequency state, if this is valuable, if you truly enjoyed listening to this. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much, like more than words can express. Talk soon.